It's the mid to late 70s, Liberty spikes, angry vocals, and of course the topic of this video, distressed clothes. We're talking about punk, the strange and unusual.
I myself am strange and unusual.
I would love to talk about how much punk inspired, especially a lot of subgenres. There's just a culture in general that we see in today's time, because it's a lot deeper than you may think. Fast forward to the 90s, grunge was already established. DIY projects, layering, flannels were in. Kurt Cobain wearing worn out clothes, and even having them reworked by other artists, like Lori Barbero, the drummer from the band Babes and Toyland. Again, featuring heavily distressed clothes, but this time you could see patches underneath the distress, floral patterns, decorative repairs. I mean, the list can go on and on, but was originally worn to basically mock the fashion industry, as well as political views and, you know, other stuff. Ironically, was picked up by high-level fashion brands. I mean, it's very normal now to see people with distressed clothing now, right? But back then, it was a whole different world. Fast forward to 2026, it's so normal now. You're watching a YouTube video on how to do it. Sid Vicious definitely just rolled in his grave. Originally, I was gonna post this as a short formatted video, but there's a lot of detail other than just rubbing sandpaper on a pair of jeans. That being said, just know if I take a long time to post, I'm always working on something new, always working with other artists, designers, musicians, whatever it is. I just want to say thank you guys. I'm going to do a giveaway soon. Comment what you want to see next. Thank you guys so much for 14K. We're gonna keep going, keep grinding. I need one of these, a rotary tool, aka a Dremel drill, with these sand bands. Of course, you're always gonna need your respirator, whether you're spraying glue or using the distressing tool, because all the fibers on the jeans. By the way, we got a lot of new designs coming to the shop. I'm discontinuing Molt next Friday. Gonna be dropping more concepts, but we're gonna get right into the video. I love you. All right, I use a 4-step process when doing this distressing that I use subconsciously, right? Because I didn't realize how much really goes into this until I was doing that short form content. So step 1, this is outlining, right? So this is the warp and weft. The weft goes left. I'm just gonna keep it simple. We're going in a horizontal direction. The weft is the white threads that we want to keep. Remind you, we're being very light-handed, letting the machine do its work, letting the sandpaper do its work. We're just skimming the top layer. I call it outlining because you can see the visual difference now since we're tearing up the fabric a little bit. Step 2, we're turning up the machine, upping the power, and applying a little more pressure. We are still sanding in a horizontal direction on that weft. And when I say applying more pressure, we're not digging into those threads. It's more like hovering over it and just letting the machine and sandpaper do its work. Now we can start seeing the white threads, aka the weft, and the warp is slowly starting to strip off, which takes us to the 3rd step, which is sanding vertically, and this will knock out the warp in 1 second. There's no need to turn down the machine in this step, but we're back to applying less pressure just like on the 1st step, and that's it for the machine. You can see the weft now, it's very visible, which takes us to the 4th and final step, which is separating the warp and weft, and you can do that very easily by gently separating it and knocking those out. You can use tweezers, but I like to use my hands. Then I use a brush to clean up the canvas and knock out the rest of those threads that might be intertwined with the weft. You can use a wire brush, but I'm using a hard bristle brush. And the last thing I recommend is putting it in the wash, especially before doing this darning, mending, whatever you want to call it. Put it in the wash and you're going to see a significant difference. Now all the threads that were intertwined is going to get out in the wash once it's tumbling. It's like I said, you're just cleaning the canvas and all those threads are going to pop. Now that you're a pro at distressing or master prestige, shout out Black Ops 2 since it just came back. We now have a clean canvas to set up the prep work for this mending. First thing you want to do is iron it flat. This is when you can use your brush and get all the stray threads. If you want to knock them out, I just cut them off sometimes I leave them. Now the fun part, you can choose the fabric you want underneath the distressing. Now keep in mind, you want to make sure everything's in the same weight class, meaning if you use a flimsy fabric, that's not going to pair well with denim, which is way more heavier, and with mobility it just behaves differently. So how do we fix that? We just put a patch of denim underneath the fabric we want to use, right? So we just serge it up on all 4 corners and it's just layered now. So it has that structure of the denim, but we can still get the style of the different fabric or pattern we're using. Now iron and obviously make sure it's big enough to fit on the patch of the distressing that we just did. With a fabric safe adhesive, we're just gonna lightly spray 1 coat. And obviously this is on the inside of the denim. Can't stress it enough. Make sure everything's laying flat. Otherwise, when you stitch, you can get puckering. You can just make sure it's flat. All right. Now we can iron it up for 2 reasons. 1, again, to make sure it's flat. But 2, this ensures that the needle can properly stitch through all this fabric plus the layers of glue, so it kind of evaporates the glue, still bonds the fabric, but it doesn't make it so sticky that the needle can't go through after it's ironed, which allows you to get nice clean stitches on both ends. I actually have 2 separate irons. One is a regular iron I use for seams and stuff like this, but my other iron I use as more of a steam press for this exact work, and Boro, which is an older model of an iron. So yeah, use an older iron. You can see I kind of left some residue of some paint, but it's whatever, you know, it fits the look. I love it. This should be self-explanatory, but always have that respirator and be in a ventilated space. And finally, for the prep work, we can use a basting stitch. This stitch ensures that we're gonna have a good time and a smooth time, because there's nothing worse of getting ready to stitch and mend and your pressure foot is getting caught up in those weft threads. You know, it's just a time saver at the end of the day. You might as well just prepare correctly, and we're not back stitching here. We're just doing one straight line, you know, in areas where our pressure foot could potentially get caught up in those threads. And then later we're gonna pull those out after we don't need them anymore to hold down the fabric. Now we're ready for my favorite part, the most creative part, the most artistic part, visible mending. Now some advice I would give you is put your needle all the way to the far right. Now this is gonna capture the bobbin ray faster and lock that stitch. When going back and forth, you wanna cut out as much time as possible, even though it's nanoseconds. This just helps when you're reversing so fast on that stitch that it doesn't bunch up on the underside of the fabric and look sloppy underneath. Now you have a few options here. You can make it blend in with the fabric and just make a new texture. You could experiment with different colors. I usually ping pong back and forth from different machines. I obviously love the Singer. It has a lot of different stitch options. You could do a more tighter or looser type of zigzag. You can go in a horizontal and vertical direction. Basically what I'm trying to say is just get creative. Try something new, experiment, and get inspired by others, and just create, produce, just like Rick Owens said. Mind you, the fabric is going to get very stiff in certain areas, so make sure it is obviously appropriate on the fabric, the targeted area you want to mend with. I would say that's how visible mending with hand stitching is better in that way, but just keep that in mind. And obviously you can mix some hand stitching with it as well. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, I didn't expect to drop this video, but I just wanted to go in more detail. If you like these videos, hit that subscribe button, follow my socials. I'm way more active on it. I have a lot of pre-recorded videos for YouTube, a lot of tutorials that I've been working on and ready to share with you guys. So we're back. Let me know in the comments if this did help, and if any questions, bro, any questions at all, any advice, you can always message me on Instagram and I get back to everybody. And you know, I just want one big community at the end of the day. Have fun. This is why I share these types of videos, not to replicate any other artist, simply to inspire others and show that it's possible that you could do this in the comfort of your own home. Get creative and chase your dreams. If you like the video, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, because there's gonna be a lot more you do not want to miss out on. I love y'all. I'm gonna see you in the next.